where are we at now? That could be totally wrong here. Welcome back to my channel, guys. I am the Kentucky Yankee, and we are on the road headed to go and look at a big old John Deere tractor. The guy thinks that the alternator's out of it. I don't know. He says the battery light's on. I don't normally do this kind of thing. I don't have no service truck or nothing like that. That's why I just threw my tools in the back of this Pontiac Vibe. So I have arrived at the job site, and here's a tractor we're working on. I can't see what number it is. There it is, a 5083E. That's a pretty good sized tractor right there. First thing I'm going to do is fire it up, see if the battery light's on. I'm sure it is, like he said. Raise the hood and we'll check the alternator. Looks like he was rocking out in here. And as you can see, the alternator light, or the battery light, is on. So now let's turn this radio off first. I'm going to turn it off, raise the hood, and we'll check the alternator. So if you look on this side of the tractor, there it is right there behind that. There's the alternator behind this cover. It's just got a couple screws and bolts. I'll take that off to get to the alternator, and I'll show you where the screws and bolts go on it. So there's the cover, guys. It just had these two bolts and two Torx. Just simple deal. There's one there and one here, and just one back here. All right, guys, so here we go. I turn the wheels to the right. I raise the loader way up in the air, which is very dangerous. It really needs to be took off when you work on it. You don't want to be under the loader. If a cylinder gives way, it'll fall on your head and kill you or something. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and risk it. All right, my meter is just garbage, guys. This is awful. Well, that's a shame. I'm pretty confident this alternator is bad. And my tester, I think the battery's dead in it. The first thing we got to do is take this tensioner loose. Right here is a half inch ratchet will fit in there, a belt tool. You'll pull that back, you'll pull that tensioner back, and that'll release the belt. A backside view of the alternator, and this has to come off this clip, and the way you do it on this one is I'm going to use this little pointer to show you. You stick it right up in here, you just pull this back and it comes out. That little piece right there has to be pulled back, guys. I hope you can see it. Next is this. It's a 15 millimeter. I like that. See, that's where John Deere is on top of their game. See, that's a plastic cover over that nut so that you don't arc and spark things, you know. So when we take this off, we got to be real careful not to touch nothing. That wire goes directly to the battery and you don't want it to touch the ground. So best thing to do is just tape it up. And the reason I'm not unhooking the battery is because some newer stuff, you know, the computer, you don't want to mess the computers up on this newer stuff, so it's just easier to unhook something like this, tape it up, and get it out of the way. And all I got with me is this blue painter's tape, but that'll work fine, just enough to keep it away from the ground. Glob it up on there. The last two bolts I'm seeing, there's one right there, and there's one right there, and they're 13 millimeter socket will fit the heads of those. And if you'll notice, guys, I left the ratchet in here for where I took the tensioner loose, and it's sprung against this. There's no sense of fighting with it, trying to take it off. You're just gonna end up pulling it back to put the belt on later anyway, so just leave it there. And I usually just pry them out. They're usually, let's see what it does. Alright guys, and if you're wondering why you gotta pry them a little bit, these usually slip back and forth inside the housing there, and they get tight when you tighten them up. Well, there's one always on the back side. See, both of them on the back side. These will slide back and forth in the alternator housing and make it tight. So you pry it a little bit and it loosens them up and you get it off. So there she is, all ready to go to the rebuild shop. Job like this, guys, the biggest part of a job like this, getting paid on a job like this, is just running back and forth, you know, driving out here, going to get parts, you know, going to get a tool if you forgot it, something like that. Let me show you something kind of cool, guys, you might be interested in. Check out this toolbox here, this tool set. It's a Cobalt, and the reason I'm showing it to you is not because it's anything special, but I found it on the side of the road. The box was all beat up laying on the side of the road, so I picked it up, and it was like brand new. So that was a really cool find. Well, it's the next day, and I just stopped at the alternator place to pick up the alternator. They got it all fixed up. He had to order a couple parts, and they came in this morning. So, headed back to the job site, and we'll slam this alternator on there and see if it works. Hey, old big dog, we're back. Look at that old big dog back there. All put back together. Let's hop in here, fire it up, and see if the light's still on. Oi. And she's out, boys. It was right there. Lights out, but just for extra precaution, let me go out there and hook the gauge up to it, the multimeter, and make sure it's charging. I'm sure it is. See if we can hold it this way.
I don't think it won't let me. I can move this.
There, yeah, do that. Right like that. You got it?
Got it.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
I need a little bit more. $14.3.
Yeah, got it. What's it supposed to be?
And it's supposed to be 14.3 or whatever it was there in the video. It's supposed to be over 14 volts and the tractor's charging fine. Share this video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.